The start of 2014 marks new beginnings, but it also marks 35th anniversary of the reestablishing of China-U.S. ties. It kicked off diplomatic as well as economic relations between the two countries, but since then, it has been a fast-moving period of growth, some tension, and renewed focus under both current presidents. White House Correspondent Jessica Stone reports.
In 1979, Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping and American President Jimmy Carter crowned their new diplomatic relations with a White House visit. That same year, the leaders signed an agreement to grant China Most Favored Nation tariff status. At the same time, Carter enacted the Taiwan Relations Act, granting military support and unique trade relations to Taiwan. Deng Xiaoping also ushered in a new era of economic reforms, opening up China to more American and foreign investment and encouraging entrepreneurs to start businesses. But in the late 1980s, after the Tiananmen Square incident, the U.S. froze trade and development relations with China, implementing economic sanctions, and American investor interest dropped. 10 years later, U.S. President Bill Clinton would lift those restrictions, signing the U.S.-China Relations Act of 2000, granting Beijing permanent normal trade relations with the United States. Between 1980 and 2004, trade between the nations rose from $5 billion to $231 billion.
So agrees.
In December 2001, China gained membership to the World Trade Organization, an important step towards further globalizing the Chinese economy. China had been working towards membership since the mid-1980s. Then in 2005, Deputy U.S. Secretary of State Robert Zoellick initiated a so-called strategic dialogue with China. 4 years later, Presidents Barack Obama and Hu Jintao announced a strategic and economic dialogue, which would also add a military track to encourage multiple layers of dialogue between the nations. The two nations would work closely through the global financial crisis as the U.S. headed into recession in 2008 and China's economic growth began to slow. In November 2011, with the U.S. trade deficit at an all-time high, the U.S. announced a foreign policy shift to the Asia-Pacific, and the U.S. president disclosed a new round of regional trade talks.
The United States and our 8 partners reached the broad outlines of an agreement on the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
3 months later, then Vice President Xi Jinping toured the U.S., laying out China's view of the economic relationship.
It is very important to address the U.S.-China trade imbalance and that the U.S. adjusts its economic policies and structure.
Despite nearly a generation of ups and downs in the U.S.-China relationship, the economies of both nations are closer than ever. In 2013, the trading relationship alone totaled more than $500 billion U.S. dollars. Jessica Stone, CCTV, Washington.